Hi, everyone. My name is Chanel, and I'm a realtor with People's Trust Realty. First and foremost, we have a guest speaker today. I did promise you guys that I would have someone on very special to talk to us a little bit more about the home buying process. And so, I don't want to spoil it. So, I'm going to turn it over to our guest speaker, and he's going to introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Jim Redmile. I've been a real estate appraiser in this area, including Hernando County, Pasco County, Sumter County, and Citrus County for close to 25 years. So I've gotten around and I know the ins and outs of the appraisal business pretty well.
All right, so bringing him on, which I'm super excited for him to be here to discuss the appraisal, which I know you guys probably have so many questions. Well, I do as well. So let's get started. Let's jump in and let's see what he says. So my first question for Jim would be, let's back up a little bit for everyone who doesn't know what an appraisal is. So let's get into those just typical questions of what is an appraisal, Jim.
So an appraisal is a comparative analysis of homes that sell in an area. So if you want to buy a house and you go to get a mortgage, typically a bank will hire me to go out there and make sure that what you're paying for the house is actually what the contract price, that the house is actually worth the contract price. Because to a bank, their worst nightmare is that you go through this whole you go through the whole process, you buy the house, and then you default on the loan. So they want to make sure that the house is worth what you're borrowing so they can sell it and not own it as a piece of real estate in case you default.
All right, so a couple of different things of that. So who actually orders the appraisal?
So in a typical situation, you go to buy a house, you go to your bank and you want to get a mortgage. So you have to borrow a certain amount of money. So after you go through the whole process of all the documents and all that stuff, and they say that, oh yeah, you have enough collateral and you have enough money. So typically we come in the end, and they ask us to go out there and do the appraisal. So the bank, in most cases, orders an appraisal through an appraisal management company who can then do all the legalese, because they don't want appraisers and banks to have a one-on-one kind of relationship, because
Okay.
they want to make sure that appraisers are independent
Okay.
and that we're not biased. So if there's no relationship between the bank and the appraiser, the AMC takes that, becomes the middleman, and helps them keep that distance so there's no pressure in coming up with a number.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So the biggest thing is appraisers are neutral parties. Neutral means that they have no interest in the property. Most of the time, hopefully you don't know your appraiser. So they are to come in and to make sure that as a buyer, what I'm offering the seller is what the house is actually worth. Now, can we talk? I don't know if and again, he's got to stop me. I don't know what he can talk about, what he can't talk about. But the biggest thing is so if an appraisal comes back, I know you guys have a lot of questions because this has happened to a lot of us. So an appraisal comes back and it's not exactly what we wanted. What can the buyer do to get it adjusted? And even can it be adjusted, Jim?
So in some cases it can be. Appraisers, I would never tell anybody that I'm 100% perfect. Nobody can actually claim that. So what they have in the industry is called an ROV, or a reconsideration of value. So let's hypothetically say that there's a contract for $100,000. The appraisal comes in at $95,000, and you're not happy with the comparable sales that I used. You have the opportunity to, with your realtor or whomever, and if you may be doing it yourself, but typically I would encourage you to use a realtor You would get with your realtor and you would look at the appraisal and say, okay, they used these comparables. I wonder why they didn't use these comparables. So you have the opportunity to do a reconsideration of value. So the appraisal would come back then to me, and I would take a look at it, and I would typically they let you they give you one shot, and they let you send 3 to 5 other comparable other properties to look at. And then as an appraiser, I would say, well, the subject doesn't have a pool. This one has a pool. The subject is on a smaller site. You gave me a house on 5 acres. So in the reconsideration of value, sometimes I add a comparable sale. Sometimes I don't for those kinds of reasons.
Okay. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you are enjoying this video. Jim had so much information to share with me that I ended up getting over like 20 minutes. So I had to condense all of this down, that I had to go ahead and make a part 2. So please subscribe if you guys are enjoying this information, because I will be releasing more videos in the future. And I also have another video coming up with Jim as well too. So stay tuned for that. And please like, share, and subscribe if you guys are enjoying this content. Stay tuned for the next, well, actually, stay tuned for part 2.